Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to a design review related to Awesome Language version 13.1. And we are looking at things about the styling of geometric scenes. Now, I have a question. Oh gosh, that thumb there, we have to put it there, right? Because we're bringing this thing up underneath it, right?
No, that's so you can resize.
I know, I understand it so you can resize, but I'm saying that it isn't flush with the bottom. I mean, this needs a tiny graphic design tweak. This isn't right. It just looks crazy. It looks like a lost thingy there. If we could see if we can get Jeremy, maybe he will have an immediate idea about how to do this.
Yeah, I don't think I've noticed that before. Is that a change, or have I just missed it?
That's been there for a while.
I'm sorry, can we just structure? Who's PMing here?
Dorothy Evans is PMing.
Okay, so could you try and get hold of Jeremy?
I will try to get a hold of Jeremy.
Thanks. Okay. All right, let's start off here. Oh, that's cool to be able to use pattern filling. That's really cool. So, I mean, if I say hatch filling here, for example, now, why is that hatch filling as I see it? Is that because the triangle is gray?
So the opacity is not 1. The opacity is for triangles and discs and whatnot is like 0.5 or something, so that you can see lines.
Because frequently they lie over each other, then they wouldn't look good.
I love that hatch filling stuff. That's really cool. Okay, so what am I looking at here?
So the option for GeometricScene, which here's the hypothesis style. Basically, before this, if you wanted to style things in a GeometricScene, you had to wrap the individual primitives in style and do it for each thing. Especially for the Euclid project, they would get a lot cleaner code, having options where you can style at the end of the geometric scene using an option.
I don't understand what part of this is the hypothesis.
The second argument.
So hold on. This is I'm totally confused. This is
second argument.
That's the hypothesis.
Okay.
Right, because there's hypothesis, and then there's So there's the raw object, right? The raw points and quantities. Then there are the things you're actually drawing, which are the hypotheses, and which are distinct from the conclusions.
Right.
It might be there or might not be there.
Right. So if there's a third list in there, then there will be conclusions.
So
that's what hypothesis style is distinguishing from.
Right. So the conclusion in that example you're looking at now has the third argument, which is the conclusion.
All right, let's zoom out a bit. Let's think about equational proofs. Do they have hypotheses and conclusions? They do, don't they?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So their styling.
No, sorry. So I don't think a theorem has hypothesis and conclusion. The proof doesn't.
So if I say A plus B equals B plus A.
That's not a proof, that's a theory.
I know it's a theorem, but are you saying that has a hypothesis and a conclusion in it?
No. Yeah, the hypothesis is like A is element of this ring or something like this, which is dropped.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the conclusion is A plus B equals B plus A, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. But in an equational proof, isn't it the case that the things at the top are hypotheses and things at the bottom are conclusions? I mean, in other words, those are displayed in our modern In fact, I assume it got in here, the new find equational proof coloring and so on. I haven't checked this. I don't know who's project managing that. Anybody have any idea?
I don't know if it's in the prototype build. It's certainly not in master.
Ouch. Oh, don't tell me we goofed this up.
I mean, there are issues with the implementation.
Well, I mean,
it's
just, Nick just started fixing a bunch of stuff in here. Oh, come on. Did this get... Okay. Who is PMing in this area? Do we have any idea?
I will check to see if I can find out.
I mean, I guess technically Avery, right? Find equational proof goes through ILD, but
okay. Well, I mean, we've got these really nice new styling for this stuff that we did for the mathematics project. Looks really good. But if I'm not mistaken, these are hypotheses, these are conclusions.
well, those are axioms.
What's the difference between an axiom and a hypothesis?
They're playing kind of the same role here, I think.
Well, but an axiom, no. I mean, right? I mean, obviously, on some level, it's linguistics, but also you have, right? Axioms are things that are taken to be true, and from which you derive other things, whereas hypotheses are sort of
Things
more
you assert
specific.
to be the case. It's
Right.
really the same thing. It's really the same thing. They're both, one happens to be a little bit more commonly thought to be true, like, the parallel.
Well. But, I mean, no. I mean, axioms are taken to be the foundations of the logical system, whereas a hypothesis is
Right.
something, a statement which you can prove. Modulo incompleteness. A hypothesis is something which you can either prove or disprove.
Right, it
From
can be
the
formed.
axioms.
The axiom cannot be formed.
I see. You're saying a hypothesis, your definition of a hypothesis doesn't say, but the hypotheses you've defined here are of a different kind.
Yes, because they are not kind of statements.
Right. These are hypotheses which just say, it's like in group theory. You can say, I'm considering the group S5 or A5 or whatever the heck it is.
Yeah, it's maybe
Right.
a little bit
Well,
stronger
no,
because-
it's more like let A be an abelian group,
exactly.
right? It's saying, consider the line connecting A, B, and the circle that goes through B and C centered at A, etc.
There might not exist a scene that fulfills what you write down.
Yeah, okay. Hey, we have Jeremy here, and we have a first question about, see that Resize Thumb? Jeremy with us?
I see him here, but I don't hear him saying anything. So Jeremy, maybe you're having an audio problem.
That's weird. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, you're very
Okay.
soft, but we can hear you.
Okay, you see this
Down there.
Resize Thumb.
I do. Yeah.
Do you consider it kind of ugly and it's floatery?
It's really strange.
Yeah, I wonder. I mean,
No leading questions.
Right. Yeah.
okay, fair
Well,
enough.
it's
Right.
obviously just it looks
Yeah.
like a bug. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay,
yeah.
so
So
what can we do with this?
Good.
Because it's
So,
got to be in that position
Steve-
because this thing's coming in underneath it.
Well,
right.
there's-
Although, why can't that thing just float below like the other thing does?
Yeah,
is my first question.
Well, I mean-
Presumably the thumb, the draggy thing is attached, is an element in a pane.
Right. And I understand why, what that thummy thing is doing there. But my question is just
Yeah,
the
why
way,
can't
like,
this
the
be
little
outside
points-
the frame? Yeah.
Right. The points thing is outside the frame. So why can't this piece be outside the frame also?
Seems sensible to me. Anybody, is there a semantic reason why that thing is outside and this thing is inside?
No, I think that was just a design decision.
Okay, so we
Um,
should flip this. If it can be done, we should flip this around, and then that thumb can happily live in the corner.
So
um,
then is the thing that's popping in and out permanently visible?
No, I think it would, the question would be, it's a mouse over. So the question would be, will mouse over be okay if you mouse over this and then it mousing over this has something show up outside of it? Will that disappear when you mouse over that? Since
you
it's
need to get
outside
some
of it?
expert.
Yeah, I believe that those are supported removal conditions for an attached cell, but I'm not John, so I won't promise that.
Well, and this creature is hanging out, this tail is hanging over the edge of the wall, so to speak.
Right, which is a design feature of attached cells.
Right.
If we don't want that behavior, we would need a different implementation, but I'm not sure what that different implementation would be.
Okay, but so then in this case, okay, all right, but the hit testing.
There is another element that can appear at the bottom there, below the graphic, in scenes that have a conclusion.
Oh, that's right.
So we
That's
should
why
look at that case.
That's why we reserve that that space.
Yeah, like that case.
Yeah.
And that has to be below this guy. Is that true?
I don't know that it necessarily has to be below that guy, but right then the thumb definitely has to be, I think, above the conclusion, because it's the thumb of the graphical area, not of.
Oh, but no, it's no. It's thumbing the whole thing, right? Because look, it made that wider. It's happy. Doesn't care. It can be outside that. See?
But right, but then right, you can hide pieces of the graphics with your conclusion. Right. I mean, yes, the outer stuff is aware of the size of the graphic, but
well, and what the thumb does is up to the thumb. It doesn't have to be able to hide it. I mean, that doesn't. Okay. All right. So this is the most complicated case. Is that a fair statement?
I think so.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. Who can solve this? Is it possible to just make that thumb be? I mean, is there a good reason why the standard resize knobs don't come up for this thing?
What do you mean by the standard
The ones that are on an image.
Graphic style.
It's because we're forcing the right. It's because you can pan in here, right? If you couldn't pan and rotate things if we just allowed the normal behavior of graphics. I mean, we spent a lot of time talking to Lou and Brett about sort of how controls interact with these things, and I think this was overall the best solution we came up with.
I will say, yeah, this thing barely works.
Stephen, could you hover again? So what if there was a resize icon in that hover? Like you could only resize if you take some user click action.
Yeah, I like that. If that thing only shows up when you're hovering.
Yeah.
If I can do that, I think that would be a decent,
This thing is incomprehensible as it is right now. So you're saying you can't have knobs on the sides for technical reasons right now. Am I correct?
Correct. Right, but in some sense, it's not that different from, say, manipulative graphics, right? I mean,
yes, I understand.
Yeah,
got a frame.
Exactly.
Although in that case, with manipulative graphics, the inner graphic has knobs.
Right.
Okay, so what are we saying here? So what would be the resize? What would it look like in the hover
Well, I was thinking, one possibility is you've got a resize button that's in the row, and if you click it, you basically get a graphics resize handles, right? The graphics does the sizing like you said, but you can only enable it when you click that.
Well, I don't know
resize
whether that
button.
helps these guys, because if you can enable it, then why not? If you can enable it, then why not have it enabled? If these guys have the technology to enable it, just do it at the drop of a hat, so to speak.
Well,
I'm not sure.
To be off by default, so you can pan. You don't want it to be enabled until the user wants it.
Can you pan? Oh, yes, you can. Oh boy.
Right, and you can also drag things around, right?
Although
It'll be
that
like a
probably
pan
not going to
mode
work great
versus
on this
resize
example,
mode.
just due to the math involved. Since
It's
it's
fixed.
forced to be a regular polygon.
Right, but something like the example below, right? You can drag the points around.
Yeah, that will work.
That wouldn't be obvious to me. I didn't know you could drag those points around. Listen, you know what? In order to make it, I don't know what happened there.
Well,
so
we should have, because we showed it to you that you could drag them around, so you should have known.
And
Okay, I think that when you mouse into this area, these points should bat their eyes, bat their whatever they do. They should do something. They should just show some sign of activity as you go into the hover. They should just flash in some way to indicate that you can do something with them.
Oh yeah, we already have them change color if is that little attach cell thing. If you want to fix the other points, like you fix B and fix C. Now if you move A around, well, now they're all fixed, but now if you move A around, the other two stay fixed. So we already do
fine.
something.
But what I'm saying is, at the moment of hover, you should flash something on those points. That's the way to indicate that they could move.
Permanently or just for a moment?
Say it again.
Like the visual indication should be permanently as long as your mouse is inside, or just for 1 or 2 seconds so that you get aware of it?
I thought it would just be for 300 milliseconds.
I see.
That sounds like a rendering glitch to me.
Yeah.
Say it again.
I said that sounds like a rendering glitch to me.
Yeah.
I don't think it will look like a rendering glitch.
So maybe expand in size by 20%?
Perhaps, yes, that would be fine. I don't know. Jeremy, what do you think?
Unmute. So I think a subtle flash would be nice. Even, if you could transition to and kind of fade in out, something soft, be pretty nice.
But you don't think people will think it's a rendering glitch?
Well, if it's soft, if it's not jerky and, too stark, if you could do it, subtly, or you could kind of ease into it, kind of fade out, fade in.
Maybe for a moment bring up some small gray text. Points are movable.
Maybe. I think we go to experiment. Yeah, otherwise you're just not going to get it. And if this can flash these things down here at the same time to indicate the connection, that will be very nice. Does that make sense?
Note that those things only appear once. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying this is great UX at the moment, but that only appears when you click.
Yes.
No, it
that
doesn't.
did be,
And then you click again to make it go away.
When I click in here, that appears.
Yeah.
it toggles it.
Oh, boy. I wouldn't have figured that out. I mean, the fact that there's no close box here, it seems crazy to me. I think it should have a close box. Because I couldn't figure out how to get rid of this. I was wondering. I thought I would click on it. Oh, it did when I clicked on it again. But why didn't that happen the last time?
If you were a little bit off and
Yeah, okay. All right. Anyway. But
Well, it looks like
okay, so what are we concluding about the resize? I really think the resize has to be more obvious. And I if necessary, first of all, you could probably do only have the resize come up on hover. Maybe. I'm not sure.
It's
think
probably
that should be
possible.
doable.
Jeremy, can you
So-
see a way to do a design, even in this case, where it won't look totally stupid?
Not in that position, no.
Can the thing that comes up on hover move to the left?
And you're just saying have the resize thing be part of that row?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess the question is the resize thing coming from us or from the operating system, right? Because if it comes from the operating system,
Comes from
Right.
us.
It's an appearance element in pane.
well, I know that, but the question
Okay,
is,
but-
does the right? I mean, you can say scroll bars is also an appearance element, but that
Yes.
comes from the operating system, not from us. So you can't be sure that size or style matches.
Well,
whatever
okay, I get that
else you draw.
point, but
So the question
I
is,
mean, I don't know. Does somebody know the answer to that here? Brett?
I do not know.
okay.
So we
Well,
can
if it
ask
does-
John.
I'm sure we can draw it. We can choose to draw it.
Mhm.
And that seems like the right solution, to put it in that same line, and then this stuff comes up, to the left of it.
And do you
I mean-
want it to only appear when you're mousing over or?
No.
have it always there?
No, have it always be there, but then this thing comes up to the left of it when you mouse in.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds like a good solution, if assuming it's implementable.
Okay, all right. So let's check on that and then do that. Okay, so can we come back to this? Okay, so let me just get a sense of scope here, and let's see whether we need Jeremy here. So the scope, we're talking about how to style different parts of this graphic, because I could perfectly well put in here style of that line, comma.
It might not work on geometric step. You might have to do it on the actual line, like style of. Although it should work on geometric step now that I think about it.
Well, it didn't work.
But a step isn't styled. It's this.
Right,
It
but
didn't work. It didn't work, but it should work. Probably.
right, I would think.
I'm not convinced.
Well, I think maybe if you style a step, it should be like everything in that step.
Yeah, why not?
Although the question is whether the later steps.
Yeah, what would you do in later steps?
Yeah, I don't think it should work around the geometric step.
Okay, all right, fine.
Well,
But
that's
then it
what
should
we-
give a more sentient error message.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so that's what that does. Okay, so now that's all working right now.
Yes.
But now, for example, if I want to, as I had wanted to do, change the overall style of the points, how do I do that?
For all the points,
Yes.
you do underscore points and then goes to a color
Really?
for the in the
In the
hypothesis.
hypothesis style,
Yes, there's a example later on.
right? So you see how it did underscore, it did blank circle through, it goes to purple.
Oh.
That's how you got the purple.
Oh,
But that's the whole point. I mean, we don't add new functionality. We want to have a clean scene that is not additionally made complicated by styles and separate things out.
okay. So look, if it's going to be like this, it's got to say hypothesis style rules or something, because this is really different from the way we do styles anywhere else. I mean, the closest analogy would be Vertex label.
I mean,
things like
I
that.
And
don't
not to
think
be
I don't think that's actually true. I mean, it is different in that it's taking patterns on the left hand.
Yeah, that's
side.
what I mean.
But the basic way of almost any style thing is foo style goes to list of, sub style goes to whatever, right? Base style goes to.
I know, but
Well,
this
I mean,
is very
I
different.
guess the question is, does hypothesis style goes to red mean anything? Or does it have to be rules of some form?
It's got a. I don't think that works.
Well,
Right,
why
you
not?
have the
I mean,
red
then it's
from the because you put the line, the red.
I know.
and the line.
I know.
Yeah.
If you want to do everything green, you would have to do.
Okay, so this is the wrong name for that this thing.
Yeah.
It's simply
Right.
the
So
wrong
then
name.
this is
Sorry.
closer to color rules than array
Yeah.
plot. And
Yeah.
We have anatomy styling, which is more or less allowing underbars.
Okay, notice that it's called styling, not style.
Yes. Yeah, I agreed.
and it's not an option.
That's also correct.
Right. So yeah. So hypothesis. Yeah. I have no. I wasn't. When this was shown to me for preliminary review, I'm like, okay, I'm not crazy. I can't quite shoot this down, but I'm not crazy about
Okay,
it.
fine.
I mean,
But
that's
so
why
the
we have
first
this
thing-
meeting.
Right.
So
The first point is it's got to be something like rules.
yeah.
But
So
now-
I think hypothesis style rules makes perfect sense.
Okay, but so let's just zoom out a little bit more. Okay.
Okay.
I'm still confused. And I'd like an analogy, for example, an anatomy, for example, when you're styling skin and bones and this, that, and the
Yeah.
other,
Yeah.
right? Don't we have a way of doing that with an association?
Yes.
Can I see how that works? Let's see.
Go to anatomy styling a little bit down.
Yeah, okay, but I want to see it in anatomy plot 3D.
Yeah, but
Um,
the examples are in anatomy styling.
Okay.
good
Well,
ones.
they should be in the options section, right?
Yes,
Or
but
is it-
but I think some that really fit are here. And you go a little bit down,
Oh, it's a directive. It's not an option, right?
but go into scope.
Right. But I think this is different, right? Because this goes in and then it has the limited scope of whatever list it's in, just like a
Right.
directive, right? This is a graphics. This is closer to a graphics directive than a style option.
Right. And it
Right,
doesn't
but,
really
but
use
what I mean, it
patterns.
allows the underbar on the left-hand side. Was my point.
Where is the underbar on the
Well,
left-hand side?
I assume that if I change,
Go down a little bit. Come examples with
Wait,
underbars.
wait a minute, surely this will just work if I say this. Yes. All the fingers.
Right.
Mhm.
Boy, I should look at this. I have this weird repetitive motion injury on one of my fingers. I need to look at anatomy.
I mean,
Okay.
but I think, in this case, the underscore may be sort of special. I mean, I don't know that there's a lot of use of,
Yeah, in associations, it's pretty weird.
well, I mean, and,
Right. Well, yeah.
I can't think of, ways that I would want to construct a general pattern that matched, specific body parts in some way.
Right.
I
And,
can
I mean, if you literally do like alternatives here, will it work? I mean, is this actually a pattern or is blank just, a sort of fake syntax? I mean, obviously it can't be a completely general pattern, but
How do I
replace part
find,
doesn't
Michael,
take-
how do I find the bones in that? And well, let's see if I just type it in.
I think just
The hand in the
that
left.
should work.
hand. Okay.
Carpi. It's a good.
But okay, so then I say entity list of this. Is that right?
That would be nice, but I suspect not, because it doesn't look like it's an entity class.
It doesn't look like they list of bones of the left hand.
Or maybe there you needed a different assumption.
Oh, didn't work.
Well, these are some bugs. I
Yeah.
mean, in this, how do I get? Do you have any sense?
There's
here with
probably
properties?
some property, but I don't know what it would be called.
Why the heck isn't that auto-completing? That's another bug. Dorothy, that's for you.
Okay,
Oh.
thanks.
Okay, so if I say, what do I? What do I want?
Bones?
Does it say bones somewhere here?
Yeah, like 7th line, 2/3 the way across.
It just says bones.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, I just want to solve this. 'cause
So-
I'm
There,
looking.
there are no bones in the left hand.
Oh, okay, go down till you see functional categories. Go over
bones.
pass bone count.
It's crazy that we don't,
Included bones.
it's crazy that these things don't that you don't know what to type from this. Okay, but then we have to recursively bonify this.
Yes.
Or are these I mean, set of sounds more like an entity list, type thing. Do you need to map entity list across this, or do you need to?
This seems like a okay.
There you have a set of bones.
Okay, so now what I presumably want to say is I take one of these, the left. I really want to know which one is it? Which part is the finger? It's up there, right?
Well, the finger is
those are the
multiple bones.
phalanges, right? The phalanges and the sesamoids, right? The carpal and metacarpal are the wrist.
No, I understand. That's back down here.
Right.
But at this point, the hand has ended in its fingers from here on out. Is that right?
Right. Which I believe are the phalanges and the sesamoid.
Okay, so here, if I go like this, and I say in here, I don't know anybody know the precedence?
Put parens around it for good measure.
Where are they?
Yeah, I don't think it's
an
actual pattern. It's
Yeah.
just underscore is special.
We
Yeah,
should,
I think so.
fix that cheat.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, separate issue. All right, let's go back over here. Okay, even though I really want to debug my hand based on this. Okay, never mind. Boy, I hadn't even thought of that. Yeah, it's got all that data. Okay. Okay. So the thing that I'd like to be able to do, where's the conclusion relative to, I mean, in other words, aren't these just, I mean, what if I want to color the third step in orange and so on? How do I do that? That's not doable from this, is it?
No.
I don't understand the difference between hypothesis. That's this whole thing here.
Yes.
And the styling of this whole thing. It's the styling of elements in this whole thing here.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I have to say that, I would like to see some plot themes here, because as far as I'm concerned,
That's exactly the goal of the whole thing.
Yeah,
That's the
this
next
is
step.
the first step towards plot themes.
well, where do you put the plot themes? Into hypothesis style as a string.
No, the whole thing would one day have a plot theme option, but they must be somehow implemented and materialized. And they cannot be done through adding locally inside the actual scene.
I see. Okay, but I mean, the point is, what we're trying to do, and each individual object in here is trivially modifiable.
Yeah.
Right. So we can say, whatever we want to say, dotted, red, oops, not like that. See, this is, it shouldn't just pink like that. Anyway, okay, so there we have a nice.
It's no different than graphics.
Yeah.
But he doesn't like it in graphics either, so.
Why is that not red?
I'm colorblind. I don't know. So what?
What happens if you make that a
it's probably
directive?
mishandling style. If you put directive around dotted and red, I bet.
Well, I understand that, but it's mishandling it, right?
Yeah.
Well, sure, but let's just diagnose that it's no. There's some deeper issue.
Well, so I think the style might be ignoring the edge form. So it might have like a gray. It might be doing red over a gray edge form.
There's a bug.
Yeah.
You got to fix it.
Yeah.
Okay. Be that as it may. And I could say, like, for example, presumably I can say this.
I was going to say, can you try thick and dotted?
Didn't seem to work. Maybe it did. I don't know. Thickness 0.1.
That worked.
Okay.
Are we sure, Itai?
Pretty
okay.
sure.
Okay, so now the issue here is that what you want to do is bank style all the lines, for example.
Yeah.
But I don't even see the points, for example, here. I haven't a clue how you, like I wanted to draw one of these without labels on the points. How do I do that?
Yeah,
This is what we are working towards, because the points are not explicitly there. They are something special, yeah.
Well, so what this is like is a vertex style function, vertex shape function, rather. Right, it's the analog of that, because the vertices aren't really there, but they have some styling.
What do you mean the vertices aren't really there?
Well, I mean, the vertices, you don't even know where they are coordinate-wise. It's an overlay. Given the graph, the rendering of vertices is a subsequent act.
Right, but okay, well, I'm not sure what point you're trying to make. I mean, here you've named 3 points, A, B, and C, and then you get 3 styled points named A, B, and C.
But the point I'm trying to make is that just like a graph is a representation that implicitly specifies a bunch of things, and then it is rendered, the same is true here. You're implicitly specifying this geometric scene, and then it is rendered. So the analogy
okay, except that you ask for an instance of the scene, but sure.
Right, okay, fair enough. Which is, I mean, okay, let's just pull this analogy a little bit further. We don't have an instance of a graph. We could, right? But it's the same type of thing. A graph defines certain constraints, and then our graph layout automatically instances the graph, in effect. True statement?
Yeah.
So it seems to me there's a close analogy between this and the instancing of graphs.
No, there isn't, because this actually literally contains the thing, right? And you can do random instance of 10 and get 10 different instances that all look quite different.
Well, I mean, it raises the interesting question of, should you be able to do random instance of a graph and get 10 different layouts? Because each layout has a certain, I mean, it's not unique by any means.
Sure, except, well, I mean, certainly all the current graph layouts we have are deterministic.
I mean, if you really wanted to do that, I mean, you can specify vertex coordinates, and it's just getting 10 sets of random coordinates.
I feel like there's somehow a difference, like a graph always exists. Otherwise, you couldn't even write it down. You can't write down an incorrect graph, then it isn't a graph anymore.
Right, but you could talk about random embeddings.
Yes, correct.
Right.
Correct. It's the embedding that's random, not a graph.
Well, it's the same thing here. I mean, it's the embedding, as in what the actual coordinate values of the points are. The constraint of what's connected to what and how is independently determined. Then there is an embedding. That is what the random instance gives you.
But the positions actually matter here. They don't matter in graphs.
Yeah, it feels different to me.
It's a little different. All right, I admit it's a little different. But in terms of this design, let me see. Okay, let me just understand. Your proposed design has just these 2 hypothesis styles and
conclusion styles.
Yeah.
Right, and for example, with conclusion style, right, if you use fine geometric conjectures to add style, you know, to add conclusions, then you don't even know what the conclusions are. You don't even have, you know, conclusions in there before you know, to wrap anything around, which is why conclusion style is useful.
Okay, but the thing I want to know is, I just wanted, and I needed this in practice, okay? And I did a total hackalola to achieve this. I just wanted that picture without it. I just want that picture without the ABC. Okay, so tell me how I do that.
You'd have to go, if you're using the hypothesis
You already
style.
lost the game, because this has got to be easy. people are making a geometric construction. They just want to show, as I did for something, I just want to show the construction. I don't want to say it's an ABC construction.
Do you want the little discs around them gone too?
I want to be able to style them my own way.
Then that is eventually going to be one of our plot themes, but that's not available yet.
Okay, but any plot theme has to be achievable by direct code.
Right. I think this would be.
How would it be achieved? Okay, I'm going to make a different suggestion.
Could you do something? Try something like the following. Do blank point goes to
white.
Oh no.
Well, no.
That's not going to
goes to opacity of 0.
Yeah,
that's not going to work. You wait and see. It's going to leave a big space there.
Yeah.
Well, which is, well, if you'd actually heard my whole suggestion, it would have been, font color goes to opacity of 0.
Well, okay, that worked. I admit that worked, but that's utterly obscure.
But I feel like the problem here is actually the uppercase point is misused, because the first arguments in GeometricScene ABC are not really uppercase points. They're lowercase points.
Right. So I've got a suggestion, guys. I think what should happen here is this should be called, an option. Geometrics, scene style or styling or something, and it should just be a frigging association, and it should just say points are styled this way, point style arrow blah, line blah blah blah. You've got all kinds of freedom, and you just basically describe it as you want to describe it. So you can say point labels arrow true, point labels arrow false. You can say,
so have a large number of magic strings.
That's what I'm suggesting.
Well, that wouldn't. Well, part of the thing here, sometimes you don't want all triangles to look the same, but you also don't want to have to put style in the second argument. Like, a lot of that.
You want to post-process them by having triangles which match a particular pattern have a particular form.
Right, but you can do that with the strings.
No, yes, you can. Yes, you can. You just say something like style patterns or something, arrow, and then you do your triangles. But this is a fake, as you've just admitted. Right? And all these fakes are going to, blow up in our face. Right? Underscore point is not doing pure pattern matching. True statement?
That's the one exception.
Just the one exception point.
Yes. Just because
I love
there are no points.
Yes, I understand. So,
but the association would work. But we would also allow on the left-hand side, in addition to magic strings, explicit elements of the scene. Like a certain line I want to be read, but I don't want to dirty the second argument.
I mean, I guess the weird thing with the point there is that it's in hypothesis style, but A, B, and C aren't in the hypotheses.
yeah,
Why not?
well, they show up as the line. If you did line of list of style of A red, comma B in list, that would work.
Really?
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, what did you just say?
I said,
have Stephen type that in.
If you have like style line red, if you just put that style just around the A in the first step.
Oh, come on. Okay, I want to put it down this B here.
No idea if that's
not in the.
I know.
I don't think that would work, but I think that would work.
interestingly, the A and B got lost here.
Well,
mean,
I mean, they're still covered by the point goes to opacity 0.
right,
Yeah.
right. So
And the inner ones always win against the
yeah.
outer ones.
yes, the
And wrappers always win over options.
Now, the more interesting question is, can you do something like style of B font color goes to opacity of 0 to just make the label disappear and
Yes,
still
that
have
will
a nice
work.
big point?
Well, that's a hack. Okay, whatever. Let's go to an earlier step. Oh, that is so frigging weird.
It's because
That's
it
on
didn't
step
need the early
two.
later ones yet.
No, but I understand that's on step 2. It kind of saw the color in step 1 and
Well, remember, right? Well,
Yeah.
things are additive, right?
Right,
It's
it's a
always adding.
construction.
So there it only added the circles and didn't change anything. Then you added this triangle above it, and that triangle had a new opinion about the color of B, so it overrode.
okay, look, it's nice functionality if anybody could ever figure it out. Is this documented at all? This incredible weirdness here? If I go looking for that documentation, will I find it?
I think so.
In GeometricScene, I suppose.
Yeah, the geometric scene documentation is pretty long, but I'm pretty sure that's
I was gonna say, will people understand the documentation and that's what it means?
I would just do a search for style because I have no idea. Yeah, it's there. The display can be specified using style.
That doesn't tell me this. That there's this extra hack for points. Doesn't tell me that in the slightest bit.
Well, it's one of the list of things that's listed under objects.
So what?
Well, if it's an object, then and objects can be wrapped in.
Nope. Nope,
but it's
not there.
So it's so.
So we lose the game.
Yep.
There's a point
But
there.
what
but
would
it's
be
not.
there? We wouldn't even know where to find.
Yeah, I know. So it's got to
Yeah.
be so there's a documentation inadequacy here.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I would never have guessed that would work. All right. So let's come back to this. That's just crazy in my view.
No disagreement. Point was not the one we had mostly in mind here.
Right.
Right, but if you do circle through of underscore comma A goes to purple.
Okay. I mean, that's nice.
Right. I mean, maybe what we need here is to just add, a couple of magic strings, like maybe point is a magic string, and we just document
Look,
that.
I think we
Or that's a
But for
separate.
points, we should even have magic right-hand sides.
Okay, guys. Just
I
quit
don't
trying to
think-
pretend it's patterns.
What's
Look,
that?
let's do something like this. Okay, we'll just have a geometric scene styling, and then a big long association, which we can document. We can have special cases. We can have all kinds of things and style patterns.
The other
would be-
stylings are not options.
What's that?
I said the other stylings
What
are not
other stylings?
options. We have anatomy styling and geo
Okay,
styling.
so you're saying, what would be the right name for this? It's not like color rules.
I mean, I
I
don't
mean,
think,
it's-
why does this have to be an association? I think this would be better as a list of rules. Right, I mean, this has, in the language of style options, this has list-like inheritance, not association-like inheritance. This is better as a list of rules.
Well, okay, look, you've got several different things. You want to say, okay, my prediction is that there are just tons, and you've already admitted this, there are tons of weird cases that you want to switch on and off. That you were saying, well, we'll do it with plot themes, but I don't believe in that. There needs to be an explicit way to do it.
No. I think misunderstand. Every plot theme must somehow rely on such technology.
Okay.
This is a precursor to plot theme.
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
It is
I-
all
This,
needed.
this is
I-
part
I-
of building
I-
up the language of things that plot themes will rely on
Right.
to do its job.
Right. And the only thing I'm disputing is that this should be an association. I'm saying this should be a list of rules, which can be patterns or magic strings, which can be documented. I mean, and
We're not using the association functionality at all. So yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, all right, okay, fair point. But now you've got a different issue, which is they occur in the hypotheses, they occur in the conclusions.
So the conclusion,
No,
To me, the right thing to do will be to have this list of rules and maybe to have the possibility of having a double, because I can imagine that I just want to switch all my points, to be dots rather than the circles or something.
Yeah.
I don't want to have to separately do that for hypothesis and conclusions. So I'm wondering if there's a way to get either inside or outside, and that could be an association play.
so the conclusion styling is fundamentally different from this. The conclusion styling is much more narrow in scope for technical reasons. And
I love the phrase for technical reasons.
yeah,
Well-
I mean, I was not aware of this. Why is it much more limited in scope?
well,
Or
because
how?
so I mean if you look at the actual conclusion style example, I forget where they are, somewhere down here. That's where you can actually you just say red and it'll highlight things in red. So
Okay, you are just making the case
Right.
even more strongly that we just want an association or a list with magic strings.
Right. And then conclusions
This becomes conclusion style.
and
Yeah.
that's as a magic string.
as a magic string. Yes. I
Yeah,
I totally
agree.
agree with
No,
that. Stephen.
that's fabulous.
I agree.
Okay, so that then becomes an overlay style for conclusions.
Yes.
Right. And I think we call this geometric style rules and
Geometric.
know-
Well, what? No, is that really what you want?
geometric
style?
scene.
No, that's too many words. What?
Yeah.
Let's think
I kind of like geometric style rules or
Appearance rules?
No, because we've used that to generic. I mean, unless we want to, I don't know. Can we reuse appearance rules?
I feel like this is different, right? Because appearance rules is really about what should and should not appear, right? In addition to sort of how it looks.
Yeah, not kind of how, it's more an if.
Yeah.
But maybe Jim, well, yeah, no.
Geometric styling rules.
That's fine.
I mean, by the way, does it have to be an option or can it be an argument?
Needs
Did
to be
you-
enough. It's gonna be
Right, because right, since you can have 2 or 3 arguments.
Yeah, all right, okay.
yeah.
Geometric styling rules. Okay, geometric styling rule seems okay. Now the question is what? And so here you can just put in all kinds of stuff like, point style. I mean, I would do things like, styling patterns, blah, blah, blah. Then I would say things like,
What would be an example of the blah, blah, blah? Just,
So that's like the stuff we originally have up there.
this thing here.
okay, good.
So that's
Except not
just
that
the,
one.
so
Including explicit ones, like
Yeah.
line AB.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
styling patterns is just the
Yeah, okay.
magic word for what we already
Yeah,
have.
okay, good.
All right. So then we've got,
Points.
Minus blank point, because.
yeah, exactly. Point style.
Well,
point
we won't
styling.
necessarily document that, but
And then there we have now also magic keys on the right-hand side.
Well, I think there should be a point styling function that is just like a vertex shape function, where you just give it the coordinates and the name and the coordinates, just like vertex shape function, and it just tells you what to render.
Yeah, it's probably not going to make it in the 13.1, but that's definitely been on our radar to have something like this.
The only point I will raise was that won't allow you to easily turn off the labels, right?
Right.
Because
I know we're going to. Oh, I see.
I mean,
it
labels
would
deserve
allow
to
you
be
to easily
first-class
turn off
options.
the appearance entirely by making it, nothing.
Yeah.
But you wouldn't be able to.
Right. So I don't think that's enough. I don't think
Right.
it's enough. Just like it isn't for vertices. So I think we want.
Maybe point labels.
Point labels. Arrow, true, false, automatic.
That's fine.
Non-automatic, the usual stuff. Non-automatic, or whatever you do in. And we can use the same exact conventions as we do for graphs, where you can have a list of pattern rules potentially.
Yeah, we might want a couple more, like you want the label a little bit to the right or something like this.
Right. So, but you can just put in whatever tweakings you want in the list.
Yeah.
And then there's also conclusion styling, conclusion style, arrow.
And that will just be like a red or green.
I assume so.
Yes. You said so.
And right, and if in the future we come up with some more ornate syntax to handle some more ornate situation, well, then we just document that if the need arises.
I think that here, I mean, where did I just see this? Oh my gosh, what was I just reviewing? Oh, molecules. Right, where again, unlike graphs, they do a placed in the center name for this is sulfur or something. Michael, you know what I'm talking about.
I think so.
So that's directly analogous to this. Whereas in a plot, vertex labels represents the off, by default, the label is off to the side of the vertex. Whereas in chemistry, and I forget the option name, in chemistry, like here, the vertex label is there, not off to the side.
Right.
Although I claim that it would be reasonable to have an option for this where it is off to the side.
For geometric scene.
Yeah.
Definitely. No, we have discussions. Yeah.
So it'd be good to have that sort of agree with the way that chemistry is doing it. All right, what else do we have to figure out here? I mean, we haven't figured out all these names, but I think you guys need to iterate on that.
Right, yeah. I mean, I assume that's going to be just adding to that every...
I think so. Everything you can think of. I mean, okay, what else do we have to figure out here?
I think that was basically it.
Yeah, and
this was just
amusement
for this.
Yeah, it's just amusement.
Yeah.
I mean, this is why you want the post overlay, so to speak.
Exactly.
Styling.
Exactly.
Okay. Anything else?
No, I think we're done.
Yeah, that's cool.
Stuff.
Could you send this to me?
Yes.
You just replied to the email you got the agenda in.
Oh, God knows where that is. Okay, yeah, I see it. Oops. Whatever. Okay. All right. There it goes. Okay. Good stuff. All right.
Thank you.
All right.